I'm truly grateful you're here, Carol.
What's that?
I'm truly grateful you're here.
Me too. I just love it. What a happy sound of everyone coming in.
I love it. So for our opening song, please stand if you're able and we'll sing We Are One in Spirit by Father Peter Schultz.
Good morning. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in the Lord. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in the Lord. And we pray that all unity may one with each other. We will work side by side, and we'll guard each one's dignity and save each one's pride. And they'll know we are living by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are living by our love. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. And together we'll spread the news that God is in our land. And they'll know we are living by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we are living by our love.
So beautiful. Yes, you may be seated, and Wes, if you'll give us that opening prayer, we're ready.
Be happy to. Good morning, everybody. I'm Wes Morrison, your prayer chaplain on duty, and first thing I want to do is welcome any newcomers that we have, and hope that make you feel welcome. All right, the prayer I chose for the day is called the Knot Prayer. Dear God, please untie the knots that are in my mind, my heart, and my life. Remove the have-nots, can-nots, and the do-nots. Erase the will-nots, may-nots, might-nots that may find a home in my heart. And release me from the could-nots, would-nots, and share-nots that obstruct my life. And most of all, dear God, ask that you remove from my mind, my heart, and my life all the am-nots that I have allowed to hold me back, especially the thought that I am not good enough. And so it is. Amen.
I don't know about that or not, but it's good. Oh, all I see is love. Woo, that's good. Put it on that towel and then it won't roll away. But we have that in our steps. So I'm Reverend Gary Kanye, and unity is a spiritual community that fosters personal transformation for healing, for wholeness, and for that intimate connection with the divine. We do this through affirmative prayer and meditation that opens us to realize our oneness with God. Unity believes that all people are divine and equal without exception. And unity provides a safe place where we can come and explore our spiritual journey just as we are. Unity honors the light that lives in all religious and spiritual traditions. For we know that light shining through every stained glass window, through every mosque dome, through every cathedral or temple or church tent is the same light shining in us. And we call that light God. We know that what we experience is based on what we can imagine, on what we believe, on what we say. And when we say what we believe with gusto, it ignites a powerful force in the universe. So let's say this great truth with gusto together. There is only one presence, one power, active in my life and in the universe, God, the good omnipotence. And so it is. And with that, I invite Wes back up to lead us in the daily word affirmation today.
All right, the daily word affirmation is I am. And we just repeat the affirmation 3 times, so we let it sink in real good. I'm a living expression of God. I am a living expression of God. I am a living expression of God.
And this is a reminder, if you have a smartwatch or a phone, please send them into the silence. They'll get their messages as we're getting ours.
All right, and our mission statement is acknowledging the divinity within, We welcome and empower all through fellowship, education, and service to our community and to the world.
Let's say that together. Acknowledging the divinity within, we welcome and empower all through fellowship, education, and service to our community and the world. This is a wonderful vision, and we arrive there by embodying our core values. And today's core value is prosperous. Let's say this affirmation together. The prospering Spirit of God now inspires me with ideas that lead me to bountiful prosperity.
And our sacred volunteers of the week are John Nernemaker, John Bergman, Pete Thomas, and Mike Thean. And if you want to see how beautiful our patio is, they went ahead and removed the fence, and it's so open and airy and inviting.
And what I ask each week is that we lift up these men in our hearts and prayers, acknowledging with gratitude of their great service, because we are a community of sacred service, and we're so grateful for that. What we are grateful for expands, and we're grateful. So thank you very much. We have the Helping Hands Ministry. All of us need help at some time, and each of us has the capacity to help in some way. If you need help, send an email to helpinghands@unitynewbraunfels.org. Or if you want to be part of the team that responds to those wonderful requests, you can send an email to helpinghands@unitynewbraunfels.org and say, I want to be part of the team. Well, we have a team that responded to a request by Eden Hill, and I want to read this letter that came this week. Dear Helping Hands of Unity New Braunfels, I would like to thank you for taking the time to making clothing protectors for our residents here at Heritage Gardens at Eden Hill. The staff members here have appreciated having them, and the residents have enjoyed wearing them. Not only has it saved the staff some valuable time in cleaning up, but it also allows our residents to maintain a bit of dignity by allowing them to stay neat and clean. And for that, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We are so grateful that you took time to create something beautiful for our seniors. Signed by Chloe Salazar, Activity Director. Yes. And I don't know if you saw them, they were so beautiful, so many beautiful fabrics, and we had sewers, we had people donated money because fabric's gotten really expensive, and someone designed a tag to sew onto them. It's really wonderful. So I love our Helping Hands program, so thank you all. And now, our opening song with Carol Elliott, the wonderful song Simple Gifts by Joseph Brackett. So if you're able and would like to, let's stand and sing this beautiful song.
'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we'll not be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, and by turning we come round right. We can sing it again. Would you like to? Okay, because we're just getting warmed up. 'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we will not be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come down right.
seated. Well, today we're blessed with this wonderful opportunity. Reverend Chad Groverland is a fine man, and he's been here giving us some wonderful training and workshops, and it's an honor to have the CEO and President of Unity Worldwide Ministries here. Let's give a warm welcome to Reverend Chad Groverland. Thank you. And there's your clicker.
My wand, my magic wand. How are y'all doing today? Great. Are we present? Yes. Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, good. If you're not totally familiar with what Unity Worldwide Ministries is, we are the central office that supports the ministries we have all around the world, which is about 650 ministries on about every continent on the planet, in about every language you could imagine. So it's a fairly big role that me and my staff have, but it's a very fulfilling thing that we do to help support this message going around the world. Would you agree that's pretty awesome? Yes. Did you know that was a thing? Yes. Some of you did. Okay, well, let's just get into it today. Have you heard this saying before, seeing is believing? Anyone heard that before? Yes. Does anybody know what it means? Yes. Shout it out if you know what it means. What we see with our eyes is it, yeah? When I see it, I will believe it. Yeah, that's a pretty good explanation. When I see it, I will believe it. But sometimes we forget that it also means once I've seen something, I start to believe in it. So it actually works both ways. Sometimes I won't believe it until I see it. And sometimes just because I did see it, I now believe it. You following me now? I can't lose you yet. This is just the first slide. If I've already lost you, we're not going to be good today. Okay. Have you heard of Abraham Maslow's hammer? If the only tool you have is a hammer, you tend to see every problem as a nail. What does that mean? Tunnel vision. Sure, you kind of just see things the way they are in a little myopic view. You're looking at it. See things as you are. Sure. And really, when you dive into the depths of what this means, it's a really powerful insight for healing what's happening in the world today. Fundamentally, what it means is you were raised with a given set of tools. Regardless of whether those are the right tools or not, those are the tools you were given. And now those are the tools you're doing the absolute best you can to navigate this crazy life with. You've got a few tools in your tool belt. You're doing the best you can to navigate infinite amount of possibilities you'll run into with just the tools in your tool belt. And someone else right next to you was raised with a different set of tools. And they're doing the absolute best they can with the little tools they have. You following me? Are you starting to see how powerful this statement actually is? All right, we're going to really dive in here now. So H. Emily Cady is one of the foundational writers for Unity. In our foundational text, Lessons in Truth, she has this to say. Suppose that a dozen persons are standing on the dark side of a wall in which are various sized openings. So let's imagine right behind me is this wall. It's completely black. It's on the other side of there is something, but we're on this side, and in this wall there are different sized holes that we could look through. So she says, viewing the scene outside through the opening assigned to him, one sees all there is within a certain radius. So we could step up to this wall, and depending on which hole you're looking through, that's what you're going to see as what is on the other side. And each one of us is going to what? See something different based on the hole we're looking at through the wall. So let's play this out with a little bit of imagery. Suppose we're looking at this scenario, and we look out this little hole in the wall, and we see this sun. And we go, we're all talking about the sun. That's what's out there. This is going to be all about the sun, but the person next to us goes, no, we're talking about a lake. I don't know what you're talking about with this sun business, but we're talking about a lake, we're talking about boats, we're talking about kayaking. And the person next to them goes, we're talking about cabins. We're talking about off-grid living. We're talking about solar panels. We're talking about pit toilets. I don't know what you two are talking about, lakes and sun. You guys are way off. You don't know what you're talking about. But the reality is, only God actually knows all that's going on. Only God actually sees all that's going on. And all the rest of us are doing are staring at one tiny little microscopic view of the world and thinking we see it all. Do you understand? You following me? Are you starting to have a gut check yet? Each of us is judging the entire experience of the universe based on this tiny little pinhole through which we look, based on the limited little tool belt of tools we've been given, and now we say, this is how life works, and anyone who doesn't agree with me is wrong. So Katie goes on to say, the fact is, each one looking at the same world sees according to the size of the aperture through which he is looking, and he limits the world to just his own circumscribed view of it. You would say at once that such limitation was only a mark of each man's ignorance and narrowness. So you're going to look through your little hole, and you're going to judge the other people around you as ignorant for not seeing the world the way it is. Because you've decided that you see the world the way it actually is. And anyone who disagrees with you must be ignorant. So that's what she's talking about. So now we're judging people, politicians, businesses, everything around us based on our tiny little microscopic, myopic view of the world. Isn't that a little bit silly? And the only entity that has any concept of what's actually going on is God. So what we think is wrong with the world is simply a product of how we view the world. Do you agree with that? Do you really agree with that? Are you agreeing with that just for the sake of the fact that I'm standing up here asking you if you agree with that? I'm going to guess you don't actually agree with that. I'm going to guess if I snuck up on you in your average day during the week, I would see that you don't actually agree with that. I think if you snuck up on me in my average day in the week, you'd probably think that I don't agree with that. Because we are majority of the time living from our perception of the world. And rarely do we stop to say, you know what? What I'm seeing is basically just my story of how I think things are. Because that's actually very hard for us to do, to stop and say, I'm not actually seeing things the way they are. I'm only seeing things the way I am. All right. So I've thought a lot about this the last couple of years, watching the world kind of come unraveled at the seams, watching so much infighting between people that normally would get along, especially through the lockdowns and the political crisis we've been going through and the wars around the world. People that used to stand side by side were turning on each other. And I was trying to think, how could this be? What's going on with the world? And the idea of a pendulum came to me. The pendulum of perspective. So here's the pendulum perspective. Suppose you have any topic you want to sort of put out there. Suppose you're just a little bit off center on that topic. You following me? You kind of have the center of that topic, and you have the off center side. We might refer to it as the right wing or the left wing or the liberal side or the conservative side. We always put it these two far sides, and then you're somewhere in the middle or you're staying on one of the side. So let's just say you're a little bit off center of what that topic is. The thing is, you don't think you're off center. You always think you're center. Wherever you stand on the pendulum of perspective, you think is center. You see some people off on this side, and you go, yep, there's people over there. And you see some people off on this side, you go, yep, there's people over there. Surely I'm the center. Surely I must be right. And when we're standing in the center, we think that is normal, that is natural, and that is the way it should be. Does that make sense? You've established what you think is the center, and now you believe this is normal, this is right, this is natural, this is the way it should be. And anyone who's not standing here with me is not normal, is not natural, is not right, and are not aligned the way things should be. And guess what? The person standing on the other side also thinks they're standing in the center, also thinks where they are is what is normal, what is natural, and the way things should be. Are you starting to see why we have so much conflict in the world today? We each think we are standing in the center of what is right. And anyone not standing with us is wrong. And the crazy thing is that each one of us thinks we're standing in the center of what is right and that everyone else is wrong. Except for those that are out on the furthest extremes. There is no one else to the side of them. They only see people this way. So they know they're not in the middle. So when they're standing so far in one extreme, they have to think, everyone else has gone mad and lost touch with reality. I must fight to get things back to normal. They still believe where they are should be the center, is the place that should be normal. And it is their job now to fight to get all of us back to center. Lo and behold, the person on the other extreme also thinks what? They should be the center, and everyone else has gone mad and lost touch with reality, and that person must fight to get it back to normal. Now here's where things get really complicated. We want to write these people off as extremists. But the fact of the matter is, some of the great names we know throughout history that turned the course of the world when it was really getting off course were standing there. And we thought they were crazy, they were out of this world, they were out of whack, something was wrong with them, they didn't know anything about reality, and they fought and they fought and they fought, and all of a sudden we said, racism is wrong. Child labor shouldn't be happening. Women should have equal rights. And so if we quickly write off the people on the extremes, the possibility is we're writing off the future of the next transformational shift in consciousness on the planet. And some people on those extremes are wackadoodles, that's also possible. But the issue is, life is complicated. And what the human brain wants to do is make it small so it can understand and justify its own perspective in the world. Because if we really look at, there's this infinite amount of perspectives out there, and any one of them might be right, the brain goes, I can't handle that. I must be right. They all must be wrong. So then we have things like this. This is 1998. This is Vail Ski Resort where I skied at that time, and they burned down one of the large buildings there, which actually they had where all the food was. We stopped to ski and get some food. Come on, I need to eat. So the Earth Liberation Front is an environmental extremist movement that went and burned down the lodge because they didn't like that they built that lodge where there was migratory patterns of different animals. So in order to make a statement about environmental harm, they went out and did extreme amounts of environmental harm. And this happens all the time, all over the place, with different groups trying to get seen, trying to get heard, trying to be noticed and recognized. So wherever you stand on the pendulum perspective, you will find truth and facts to support your perspective. Now this is the part that might bother you a little bit. Because your mind, your brain has told you, in order to be able to justify this complexity of the world, that you have actually found the facts that are the real facts. You have found the data that's the real data. And you can make your case to prove that everyone else is actually, in fact, wrong, and you are right. Come on, somebody. Are you still awake? You out there? Are you bailing on me because it's getting difficult now? Don't bail on me. Don't bail on me. This is hard to hear because we've all spent a lot of time researching our facts to justify our case. And we've surrounded ourselves with people that agree with our facts, to make it feel like, yeah, this is the way the world should be. These are the smart people that have gathered around me. And we've tuned out all the news channels and media sources that don't agree with us. And we've tuned out all the people that don't agree with us. And we've collected just the media sources that do agree with us. And we go, yes, I am right. I can prove it. And that feels good to the little ego brain. But the world is much more complicated than that. Because again, the person standing over here also thinks they have the facts to prove that they are right. And they have found the media sources and they have found the data to prove themselves to be correct and you wrong. Have you ever gotten a conversation with somebody where you're both sharing your facts and you both think you're absolutely right and you're both getting nowhere? And you are dumbfounded that this person cannot comprehend that your facts are better than theirs. Here's the thing that's going to be really hard to swallow. You are both equally correct, and you are both equally wrong. Do I need to say that again? You are both equally correct, and you are both equally wrong. Now, some of you sitting in this room right now, I can feel it in my soul, are saying, no, but I actually have real facts. I know it. I can feel it in the bottom of my heart. I actually have real facts, though. These are scientific facts. And science is never corrupted or flawed by money and politicians and influence. Well, let's talk about fact. We're now in a world talking about misinformation, disinformation, fake news, conspiracy theories, rumors, malinformation, and people are starting to talk about truth. Well, who gets to establish what truth is? Who gets to establish what misinformation is? Who gets to establish what a fact is? Raise your hand if you trust your government to establish what truth is. Well, they're trying to. Raise your hand if you trust your news outlets to establish what truth is. They're doing it. Raise your hand if you trust social media to establish what truth is. There are actual truth panels being created at social media outlets to determine what is truth and what is not. That concerns me. They're not enlightened gurus. It's not Jesus and company up there. Just regular old folks with special interests and egos just like the rest of us, now determining for all of us what truth is. That concerns me. So let's talk about truth versus truth. In spiritual movements like unity, we talk about there's two different definitions there. With a lowercase t, truth is just what's true for us right now based on what we've discovered are facts. Truth with a capital T is divine truth. It is the truth of God. It is unwavering. It supersedes facts. So it's like when we talk about the word love with a lowercase l, you can fall in and out of love. Love comes and goes. When we talk about love with a capital L, it is unwavering. It is God's love. It is consistent no matter what is going on in your life or the world. That is divine love. That is divine truth. It is not changed by circumstance. So let's talk from Charles Filmer, our co-founder. He said, the eyes are the perceptive faculty of mind, and unless the perception is established in truth with a capital T, one sees or perceives duality. When one delights in knowledge that is less than truth, one's capacity to receive inspiration direct from divine mind is lessened or lost. Charles plays with some big and confusing words sometimes. What is he saying? He's saying the more you believe in your little truth, the less you can perceive divine truth. The more you buy into your own little story, the more you're actually shutting down your capacity to get insight from Spirit and God. You're not only closing out other people, You're not only closing down the opportunity to have an open mind, you're actually shutting down your capacity to have contact with God. This is serious stuff all of a sudden. We thought, oh, I've just, got my news sources. No, we're shutting down our capacity to connect. And his wife, Myrtle Fillmore, other Unity co-founder, says, this double-mindedness, which consists in believing in evil as well as good, in perceiving and thinking about evil or undesirable conditions or lack or failure or calamity of any sort, double-mindedness weakens the eyes and dims the vision, and we do not clearly perceive that which is our perfection in God mind. We will actually just force ourselves to believe I'm just a chemical, physical body going through a chemical, physical experience, and all there is chemical and physical experiences going on. So what does it really matter if I get one over on you? What does it really matter if I take from you? What does it really matter if I go to war with you? There's nothing spiritual going on. There's nothing divine going on. We're just chemical things interacting. We are shutting down our capacity to connect with the divine by believing in our little closed-minded view of the world. Well, what does Unity's third basic principle say? We create our life experiences through our way of thinking. What we believe, we perceive, we experience becomes our reality. We should probably have some relationship with that already if we're in Unity, or if this is your first time, you might have been exposed to this, but you've probably heard something like this before. So most, if not all, of what we perceive to be true resides as a story in our subconscious mind that is built upon years of our limited view of life. Since you are born, you're building a story. It's not even just yours to build. Your parents are downloading a story into you. Your teachers are downloading a story into you. Your friends are downloading a story into you. Your coworkers are downloading your story. Your mentors are downloading a story. So when you become an adult, you've got this story that's been built up. You didn't really choose it. It subconsciously just happened. But as an adult, we're supposed to be able to consciously go, I'm not going to buy into this story anymore. Much of our story is just a story that was handed to us from the media and the corrupt systems that think that this world has no divinity to it. So we're being challenged in the world today to really open up our perception of things. I've been challenged, and I have to think about who I am in this world. I'm a white, cisgender, heterosexual, middle-class male. That comes with a specific perception. That comes with a belief that I'm standing in the center, that I'm right, I'm normal, I'm the way things should be. And the unfortunate thing is that we live in a society that supports that belief and has benefited that belief and has suppressed other people that don't have that belief or don't stand in that same position. And so now, as a person of privilege who sits in that position, it's incumbent upon me to step out of that position, to see other positions and do something about it, to talk about it, to break down these systems. Because if we just stand right where we are in the pendulum of perspective and we never move, we are shutting down our capacity to experience God. We're supposed to move around a bit. We're supposed to see different perspectives, talk to people, listen to people, not to tell them they're wrong, but to learn from them and to see that the world is infinitely complex and beautiful, and that being right is not the best place to be in life. So my father is also a Unity minister. I'm not sure he ever said anything worthwhile, but he did say this. This is a moment we were just sitting together. He was in the middle of a sermon. We were just hanging out, and he turned to me. He just said, you know what? I believe our perception creates our universe, not just figuratively, but literally. Each of us lives in our own reality, governed by the laws of our own belief. I don't know how I can get this through to you of what he's actually talking about. Literally, the laws of physics change for you based on your belief. And I think I can prove to you that this is true. One, we could say Jesus walked on water based on his belief that he could do that, and he did, and he broke the laws of physics. but we don't really have a direct connection with us, so we kind of fantasize that. But the reality is, I have a friend. For a long time, this friend undoubtedly believes they're going to get bad service when they go to a restaurant. What happens when I go out to get food with this friend? Their food comes cold, it's the wrong order, something is always up with it, the waiter doesn't give them enough attention, they're not coming by the table. But here's the thing that rocks my world. When my dad said this and I went, he's actually right. I still get great service from the same exact person. Think about this though. One individual is radiating a consciousness around them that I always get bad service. And it is actually affecting another person that normally just gives good service to give them bad service. And 3 feet away, I am radiating an experience that I always get phenomenal service. In fact, I don't really care. And I get great service, and my food is hot, and it's exactly the way I ordered it. We are radiating around us to actually change the laws of physics to match the way we see the world. Do you believe that's possible? Yes. Have you seen that happen? Yes. Are you now seeing how powerful this is? Yes. Not only do we think we see the way the world is, we're creating the world based on how we think the world is. I've had exchange students, and the crazy thing about exchange students coming from primarily Europe, coming to live with us, is they have zero fear of traveling. By the age of 14, they will go off and travel on a scooter throughout Vietnam, Africa, China, Russia. They just go do it. And we sit here going, but that's dangerous. You could get hurt. They live in a different reality because they're raised with the world's a beautiful place. Get out there and explore it. And we raise our children with everyone's trying to hurt you and kill you. So don't go too far from the house, let alone don't get off the front porch because that's right where people are trying to kill you. So don't yuck somebody else's yum. If you just got that out of this talk, that's all you need. Don't yuck somebody else's yum. So Charles goes on to say, Jesus recognized that the consciousness of man was submerged in the things of sense. So what he's saying there is Jesus recognized humanity was just thinking about this physical body, this physical experience. Wasn't thinking about God, the divine, the movement of spirit in and through all things. They talked about it, they didn't live it. So Jesus recognized that the consciousness of man was submerged in the things of sense, that it could not perceive truth in the abstract, and that it must, under these conditions, be stirred into activity by some stimulating force dropped into it from without. Hence he sent forth his powerful words of truth to the thirsty souls and said to them, keep my saying. Jesus recognized that we're just sitting here standing in one spot in the pendulum thinking we're right. And he had to come in and go, boom! There's another perspective out there. Go look around. We call Jesus the Prince of Peace, right? He didn't call himself that. You know what he said? I didn't come to bring peace. I came with a sword. Some people want to say, well, he's justifying war. No, he's trying to knock you. He's going to battle with you being stuck in your limited view of the world to push you out and say, look around at the majesty and the beauty of God that's everywhere and stop thinking you're right. Thomas Fuller said, seeing is believing. I heard this my entire life. I never heard the full quote. Did you know the full quote is actually seeing is believing, but feeling is truth? Have you ever heard that? Isn't it crazy that we take things, we slice them down, we make that truth when it's not even the whole truth? Seeing is believing, but feeling is truth. I bet there's been times that you've known you're so right, but something deep down goes, but that just doesn't feel good. You're arguing with someone, or you're telling someone they're wrong, they're this, they're that, and your ego's saying we're so right, but something deep down just does not feel good. You're yelling at the television, telling this person they're wrong. You're yelling at these corporations. You're yelling at this and that. And something deep down still just doesn't feel good because the world doesn't need more angry people. Regardless of whether you're right or not, it just doesn't need more angry people. And if it doesn't feel good, then something in your intuition is saying, stop thinking you're right. Learn to accept and have empathy. And that is the truth as I experience it. I want to share a little story with you before we move on that has been very impactful in my life. I am a sound engineer by trade. Since I was 12 years old, I was the sound guy at my father's church. I went and got my degree in it, went in the world. I worked in arenas, I did big shows and stuff like that. And I went to the MGM Grand Hotel and got into the sound crew there. And there was a guy named Brent there. Didn't say much, very low-key guy. And we all had big egos as sound guys. We just kind of do. And we had no problem jumping and telling another person you're doing this wrong or this is how you're supposed to do it. In the middle of a show, jumping like you're totally doing that wrong, try to push them off the soundboard and fix it and do stuff like that. And Brent never took any part in that. One day, Brent was mixing this huge show that I just happened to go be a part of, and it was the most amazing sounding show I had ever heard. And I went to him after that show. I was like, Brent, you are the most amazing sound engineer I think I've ever come across. He's like, oh, come on, stop. I was like, seriously, you are the best I have ever heard. Why don't you ever give us tips? Why don't you ever help the rest of us morons on this crew that think we're good? He said, I once stepped into a situation where there was a sound guy, and he was doing something. I thought he wasn't doing it right. I tried to hop in and give him some advice. And I found out that he knew 10 times what I knew. He said, I was so humbled in that moment, I said, from then forth, I'm just going to listen. And he said, ever since then, I've just learned more and more and more. I've never stepped into a scenario thinking I know anything more than anyone else in the room. And I've always just learned. And it blew me away. So let's just take that into some meditation now. I invite you just to take a breath, settle down into your seat, find your posture, whichever works for you. If you can have your shoulders back and your spine straight and your feet on the floor, that tends to help. Just allow this energy to settle. We've talked a lot of powerful concept here that tend to bring a lot of energy into the body. So just take a breath and allow that just to settle. There's an absolute freedom that comes with the realization that I don't have to be right. That perhaps there is some divine intelligence at work, greater than my own. There is a flow that is taking place that, even though I may not see it in the moment, is still working things out in ways I cannot comprehend, and I don't need to. The more I relax, the more I slow down, the more I'll actually feel that flow. And I'll be able to step into it instead of resisting it. And the blessing of this experience is that any time during my week, no matter what's going on around me, I can breathe, I can center myself, I can remember that I don't have to be right. Because the world undoubtedly needs more peace than it needs conflict. And this doesn't mean that I stop acting, I stop caring, I stop doing. It simply means that before I do, I breathe, I slow down, I reconnect, I align with that flow, and I act from a place of peace, a place of compassion, a place of understanding. So now we take another breath and we allow ourselves to slow down a bit more and just connect in the silence. And as we begin to go forth now from this time of meditation and silence, we commit to ourselves to hold on to this sense of peace the rest of this day and the rest of this week, recognizing that if anything stirs us, we'll take a breath, we'll slow down, and we'll reconnect before we respond. So it is. Amen. A little affirmation you could work with this week that might help. Just tell yourself, instead of trying to be right, I'm going to try to understand. Instead of trying to be right, I'm going to try to understand. Thank you.
Our master teacher Jesus was a great deliverer of truth. And when his friends, his disciples said, "Teach us to pray," he brought forth a powerful prayer. And I had the great honor of studying with Neil Douglas Klotz, one of the foremost Aramaic scholars, when I got my master's in spirituality. And so I learned the Aramaic. And so that prayer, delivered in Jesus' language, Abun the Boshmaya, Ni te Kadash Shema, Te te Malkuta, Nave Sedina Aikana the Boshmaya, O Bara, Harlon Lakman Sumkanan Yomana, Boshwoka Nabain, Dapanan, Aikana, Dapanan Shwakin, Elhayabain. Ula talane onisiona, ela pasam, membija. But all that me ki malkuta, uhaila, utish bota, la'ala, ami, amen. And we have a more current translation of the Lord's Prayer directly from Aramaic into English. Let's read that together. Father, Mother, birther and breath of all, create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire flows through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. Untangle the knots of air that bind us as we release others. Don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. For age to age from you comes the glorious harmony of life. May these words be fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen. And with that, we'll come to this time with our wonderful musician, Carol Elliott, as she presents If I Needed You by Townes Van Zandt.
Thank you, Gary, and thank you, Shad. This song starts with the chorus, and I'll sing it 3 times, and if y'all want to join in with me on the chorus, feel free to do that. If I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? If you needed me, I would come to you. I would swim the sea for to ease your pain. In the night forlorn, the morning's born, and the morning shines with the light of love. If you miss sunrise, if you close your eyes, well, that would break my heart in two. If I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? If you needed me, I would come to you. I would swim the sea for to ease your pain. Ladies with me now, since I showed her how to lay her lily hand in mine. Loop and Lil agree, she's a sight to see, a treasure for the poor to find. If I needed you, would you come to me? Would you come to me for to ease my pain? If you needed me, I would come to you. I would swim the sea for to ease your pain.
Thank you, Carol. Well, do we have any first-time guests with us today? Well, it's a blessing to have Shad and Renee here, and we bless them, and as you know, Unity loves to bless people, and we do that by rubbing our hands together, connecting our hands with our heart, say, dear friends, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Namaste. And with that, we also want to acknowledge our online viewers. So let's turn around, let's blow them a kiss, let's wave them, give that wonderful welcome to them. We appreciate our online community because you are one with us, and you had the special privilege of hearing Chad today. Blessings to you. And now it's the time of our offering affirmation. This is the time where we can choose what it is we want to give. That could come in the form of a tithe. It could come in the form of a love offering. It could come in the form of love or gratitude, a prayer in your heart for your life or this community. Set the intention of what you're freely going to give right now on your heart as we say this offering affirmation together. I am one with the opulence of God. I am now in the flow of infinite abundance, and I give thanks for the prosperity that is mine by divine right. And with that, we're going to do our walk of abundance. In that, you can use your QR code to donate directly on our website. We come forward, we bring our love offering, our tithe, our gratitude, our prayers. Let's just fill that shiny copper bowl with all of that love. And then from the wooden bowl, take an affirmation. Take one for yourself today. You might take some extra ones and give them to others this week or this day. Let's celebrate with the walk of abundance. As we raise up our hearts, we open ourselves to the gratitude of these wonderful blessings, offerings. They give us everything we need to do our vision, our mission. We are grateful for this opportunity to serve. And as we lift up our hearts in this way, we turn our attention to every prayer request currently in our prayer box in the foyer, or any prayer that's resting on our heart right now. Dear God, we are open to the blessings. We're opening and expanding to accept your delivery of blessing, of wholeness, of prosperity, of balance, of reconciliation, of joy. We are grateful. Thank you, God. Amen.
Hi, I'm your Wes Morrison, your prayer chaplain on duty. And if you have any prayer requests or anything on your heart, I'll be down here in the front pew, and just see me after the service.
Next Sunday, I've been wanting this for a long time. I love the music of Paul, Ringo, John, and George, and we've got 3 great musicians, Joe Reyes, our own Carol Elliott, and David Roseblatt, who are going to bring us a sing-along full service of 12 Beatles songs. So come and enjoy. It's going to be a great opportunity to celebrate together. Oblidio blada.
All right, we have our Gourmet with God program. That's a tasty fundraiser for the summer. If you'd like to attend one of the Gourmet for God experiences, just be sure and see Reverend Gary after the service, and you must pay in order to reserve a seat.
And we've got a few options. There's a Fiesta Mexican dinner with myself and Owen Housen, 6 seats available for $50 to reserve. There's a Hawaiian luau with Roger and Laura Atkinson, 8 seats for $50. And we have a special Memorial Day family picnic with Marty and John Nonamaker at their wonderful ranch. Lawn games, swimming, pony rides, May 27th, noon to closing, $15 a person, kids are free, and a limit of 100 people. So hurry up and get your place.
New carpet is going to be installed today in our sanctuary tomorrow, so please help us move all of the pews into the foyer, and we will use dollies to move them, so that way you won't have to worry about, straining your backs or anything. So.
Well, it's very easy. We've got 6 sets of dollies, so there's 2 for each, and they actually roll quite easily. We're not going to flip them. We're just going to roll them out and stack them in the foyer as long as they can bring the carpet in. Now let's take a moment and bless this carpet. If you've ever had the desire to spill coffee or to ground chewing gum into a carpet, this is an opportunity, because this is going tomorrow. But we bless it. It has been a solid foundation. It's served us for 28 years. It's the original carpet to this building, and we bless it on its way. And the carpet that we chose together is going to come in with carpet tiles, so that if an accidental stain, or we get into that habit of grounding chewing gum into the carpet, we can just lift it up and put a new tile in. I'm not suggesting we go around putting chewing gum in the carpet, but it might be fun today. Anyway, so I want the wooden chairs of the tables in the foyer to go into the library, and those could be stacked, as many in there. We can drop the leaves on the round tables, and those can be scooted. If they fit in the library, we can put as many in there, or just we'll put them on the side, because we're going to have pews on that side of the foyer, about 6 to 9 fit there, 6 to 9, 2 rows right there, and then some go over there. We'll get them all out, and it should go very straightforward. So any help is welcome. Thank you. And now, this wonderful music with Carol Elliott, her song with Dana Cooper, Make Some Fun for Love.
When I take the time to look in your eyes, I see sunshine, laughter, and blue sky. And it seems to me we were meant to be, full of laughter, loving, and sweet dreams. But when the day-to-day gets in our way and push comes down to shove, it's important to know when to let it go and make some time for love. You got to make some time for love. This old world moves fast, and the time flies past, and no one wants to be last, picking up the pace till it turns into a race, and I lose sight of your face when we get tired and blue from too much to do, and push comes down to shove. It's important to know when to let it go and make some time for love. You can sing along on that part. You got to make some time for love. When trouble dampens the spark that's burning in our hearts, and push comes down to shove, you've got to make some time for love. You've got to make some time for love.
And we bless our online community. And this is the end of our live stream, but it's not the end of the day. So celebrate the love and the opportunity to open to God. Namaste. And now we're going to invite our children.
Put a little love, put a little love, put a little love in your heart.